Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is my second episode. I'm Lori, and I am doing this is one of the episodes that I wanted to do for a while now. First of all, I just want to give a great shout out to everyone who gave me their feedback, their love, their support, especially my significant other who states that he loved the podcast or the recording. Not sure if he's just saying that to, make me feel better, or he actually heard it. But regardless, I really appreciate that he's allowing me to share our ups and downs in order to help others in their own relationships. I am a certified coach, and I have been specializing, and I'm specializing in relationships, whether that's with a partner, a family, friends, coworkers. I'm also specializing in succeeding in career goals and career paths. Like I was saying before, I have been dying to do a podcast or a cast about the topic which really fascinates me, and it's called the avoidant attachment style. I am in so many of these Facebook current support groups, and just reading so much negativity about dealing with an avoidant attachment style type of person. If anyone knows what this attachment style looks like, it's basically someone that you connect with and you feel that magic and you feel that chemistry. And in the beginning, it's wonderful. And then all of a sudden, when you start dating, this attachment style ends up leaving you with confusion, self-doubt, and even emotional fatigue. Now, why do I say this? Well, it's because I've dated, I think all of us actually probably in our lifetime have dated or has been married to this type of attachment style, and we don't know it. And this type of attachment style, the avoidant, they feel that they are better off alone, that they can't trust no one. They feel that needing people makes them very weak. As adults, they love you, but at a distance. They do crave intimacy, but only on their terms. They do want connection, but then they feel consumed by your love. So these avoidant attachments are very charming, they're independent, they're driven, they're mysterious, they're self-contained, and they seem like they're very secure, but, and this is the kicker, they are actually just very guarded. They're very guarded with their feelings and their emotions. And the reason why I wanted to dive into this topic is because I really thought that I was dating an avoidant attachment. And, he had every single list that I mentioned today. He had every single to the T. And our relationship was always like on and off, like a hot flame that turned on and then it disappeared. I honestly thought I was going insane. I felt like I was going crazy. There were days that he was just so loving and caring. And then boom, I wouldn't hear from him for days. And I'm left bewildered, like, what happened? Did I do anything? Did I say anything? I mean, it is the most, honestly, the worst type of feeling when you're dating an avoidant attachment. And this is where the twist comes in. So I did this podcast for, it was a contest that I did for school. I was in school and I won. And I was giving this free specialized coaching sessions on this particular topic. And you guys remember my significant other that I was speaking about in the first podcast or in the first episode. And well, you know what? He had gotten upset because he thought that I had purposely used his credit card without permission, in which now I understand, his viewpoint. But the point is that we didn't talk for about 2 weeks until I finally reached out and asked him, hey, you know what? Do you think I could do a study on you, a case study on you? And even though at the time we were both upset, he was a cool dude. And he's like, yeah, sure. Okay. I agreed. I was like, okay, cool. I finally get the view of an avoidant attachment style. I get their viewpoint now. So I gave him the test, and there is one online, guys. If you look up attachment styles, free testing attachment styles, I can provide that to you as well. And I really, really think that if you have a significant other or a partner, I really think you and your partner should take this test. And really, it helps you to better understand each other and how you all were brought up in your different styles and your different personalities. But, excuse me, but going back, he takes this test, and I really thought, oh, I got this, man. This guy's going to come out as a narcissistic avoidant personality to the T. Like, everything was bullet point. He's going to come out, and you're not going to believe what he came out as. He came out as an anxious style personality. Now, what does that mean? What does anxious attachment style means? Now, to give you a few signs, you can look this up, of course. I'm getting the information from psychcentral.com. If you look this up, the anxious style personality is, they have signs of codependency. They have intense emotional discomfort or avoidance of being alone, difficulty setting boundaries. They have a fear of abandonment. They're feeling like they're unworthy of love. They feel like they're dependent on others. Their frequent need for validation. They have an intense desire for intimacy or closeness. They have the tendency to feel or act jealous. People-pleasing tendencies. Low self-esteem. They're sensitive to changes in how others feel, speak, or behave. They are difficult in trusting others. Now, what I did not see this in him. I do not see at all this anxious attachment. He was totally opposite of what an anxious is. So as I was doing my research and I was doing my case study, I found it interesting that so many of us have this image that an avoidant is, this heartless person that really doesn't care. They can be by themselves. They just use you. But it's interesting that after I started to get to know my partner, who he really was, it's interesting that I do not see him anymore as an avoidant. I actually see him now as an anxious personality. He does try to open up more, and he tries to, show himself more. But what I found interesting is that here we are marking people as this type of personality, when in reality, what I have found out is the fact that some of these anxious style personalities, such as my partner, has created another type of personality to protect himself. Meaning that he basically created this avoidant personality to protect the anxious personality. But when you really get to know him, he's really that anxious type. And that kind of blew my mind in my case study, because we tend to automatically not degrade, but we automatically start taking these type of personalities, especially like the avoidant, that they are rebellious, or they want to hurt you, and they just have a bad rap. Basically, they just have a bad rap. And it wasn't fair. It was not fair that here I was labeling him because he was giving these type of, not symptoms, but these type of personalities to me, and yet I already had him for an avoidant. So just to make a long story short, before you begin dating or having other relationships, or even with your own personal family members, learn their attachment style, but really learn who they are. Do not mark them for what you think they are. Really get to know the person, really get to know what, who they are, and you will actually find who the real person is within you. And that's one thing, I think, the reason why I'm so patient, especially like with my partner. I'm patient because the fact that I understand that an anxious style personality, it's hard. I actually have both. I actually come from I have both anxious and dismissive, so it's called dismissive personality, and I'll go over that in another podcast. But I have both, which is like the most complicated one. So I figure, man, if he has to deal with me and I'm very complicated, I think I can deal with his anxious style. But I do encourage you guys to take that test. It is free online, and it's just called Free Attachment Style. You could take it, read on it. I really encourage you to really learn about these styles, because you're going to really start learning who you are and what type of person your partner or who you actually want to attract in your life. And when you begin to learn this, life becomes actually easier, because when I meet new people, it is so neat that when I see them and I meet them and I really get to know them, it helps me to help them, especially if I have someone who's an anxious style type of person, whether at work or it's my partner. I know how to deal with them. I know what's going to be their triggers. I know what not to say, because they're very sensitive people. And that just makes you, that you're trying to learn their style, it just makes you a better person, because then you start learning more about people and your surroundings. And that's what it's all about, is learning about others, because sometimes it's not just about us either. I know sometimes we want that, but it's not always just about us. I hope that this has kind of, if you've never heard about this style, I hope that I have encouraged you to look this up, start reading on it. It's absolutely fascinating. And I will talk to you in the next podcast. I am setting up my website. It's not ready just yet. But if you wish to email me, you can email me at alrosales at, alrosales, deepwithin.com, or .gmail.com. And email me any ideas. I have been getting already some requests for some topics that I love, and I can't wait to start dissecting those topics and getting your input and getting your ideas of what you all want to talk about. Thank you for listening.